So let's get started on some talking points. What we're going to review now is a list of things I've had brokers over the years suggest to me. And really just some talking points I want you to think about. And then challenge yourself to ask some questions about how you behave and how you run your business. Again, setting ourselves up to be the teacher's pet and build that broker relationship. So let's get started. The first one is to be proactive. This means to keep your broker in the loop. If there's issues or tension in the transaction, let your broker know. And the question I want to pose to you is, would you rather have your broker hear about an issue from someone else or from you? It's just like what we talk about with seller disclosures, right? Filling out a seller disclosure is the opportunity for your seller to let the buyer know about the condition of the property. Do they want to hear it from them, as they should by law, with material adverse facts? Or do you want them to hear it from the neighbor that comes across the fence after closing and starts yip, yip, talking? It's the same thing, same concept. If there's a difficulty in a transaction, let your broker know. A simple text or email, I think, would be good. Maybe your broker even has a certain type of communication they prefer. Maybe that's a question to ask them. I would rather have them hear it from you than someone else. As a broker, trust me, there's got to be nothing worse than having a call come into the office. You've got someone that maybe manages the phone calls, transfers a call to the broker, and there's a client on the other end just going at it, complaining about you as an agent. And that broker's like, whoa, 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 what? First question they're maybe going to ask is verifying if they're actually a client of the brokerage or not. Because obviously, if we don't have agency relationships, there's probably not a lot they can do. However, they're also going to hear the other side of the story first, and they're going to really be out of the loop on how to handle it, and them putting that person calling and complaining on hold until they talk to you and get the other side of the story. This is going to irritate that client even more, or that party that's calling in. So again, if there's something that doesn't feel right about the transaction, at least keep your broker just a heads up. This is weird. Now, do I think this is going to happen with every transaction? Absolutely not. But if something doesn't feel right, please keep your broker informed. Next up is to stay informed yourself. Now, this talks about law changes and education standards that are a state required minimum. That's probably why you're taking this course right now. I doubt it's because you love hanging out with Amy Schaefer. I think it's because you need continuing education hours. I get it. Do stay on top of those things. Laws do change, and you maybe are only doing law update, right, every 3 years, and you've got some time in there that maybe there's been some changes. Or maybe your local board made a change to the purchase agreement that you guys use universally. Please stay up to date with those things. Read your emails is the best I can say. Usually the state of Iowa, the Real Estate Commission, when there's law changes, either it's the Iowa Code or the administrative rules, we all get notification about it. Maybe you consider it a regular policy between your law update courses that you go to the Professional Licensing Bureau website, which is plb.iowa.gov, by the way, and look for law changes or updates. They usually have them posted on there somewhere as well. Be involved with your local board, whether it's on, like I said, local, state, or maybe a national level. But do stay up to date. Here's the other one, though. Read your emails. Read your emails in general. When I say stay informed, legal issues is my first and foremost. But I think agents miss a lot of other communication. Now, if you are a broker and you're taking this course, I'm going to ask you another question that's not on here, but how do you communicate with your agents? And I'm going to suggest you do a communication chain. If there's an announcement about a law change or a policy with a local board or a policy for your office, you have a communication style that maybe is a variation of a closed Facebook group. I know a lot of offices have that for announcement. Maybe it's a slide dial text where without texting each person individually, you can set up one message that goes out on the sly to either voicemails or texts. But what is the way that you get information out so that everyone has different chances to hit it instead of just going to emails that do honestly sometimes go to junk mail? My worry is, and I had this happen one time, I had an agent complain to me that the leader of our office, now they weren't the broker, I will say, but this is still a great example. The leader of the office wasn't calling them back. And I said, well, that's funny because I can see our team leader right now. Let me, when I get off the phone, go give her a heads up that you've been trying to get a hold of her. And this agent says to me, what do you mean her? Isn't our agent still so-and-so, a man, right? I said, no, that guy left 6 months ago. She's our new team leader. What happened there as an agent and as an office, right? Communication is a two-way street. That agent went for 6 months without even knowing who the head of leadership was in their office. That made me sad on a lot of levels. And again, there's probably two sides to that story, but I think I saw about 10 emails about announcements for a new team leader that obviously got ignored. Well, obvious to me. Just be mindful of that and be careful. Next up is take notes. Document, document, document. If you've got a phone conversation, because we still need to have those every once in a while, right? We can't just all do reliant on text and email. But do take notes. If you do have a meaningful phone conversation, to iron out some details, maybe follow up with some correspondence and an email. Hey, here's what we talked today. Just want to review, make sure to follow up to make sure that we're on the same page. Or that long text, right? That's a transcript of your conversations with the people in the transaction. What is your plan for storing all of that important information? Now, I know your emails, like Google products, for example, they store conversations, and it's really easy to go back and find those later and pull them up. But what would be even easier possibly if you would print those to PDF and store it in your transaction file. Whether you use Form Simplicity, DocuSign, Dotloop, I know there's several others out there. If you just have that in the transaction, maybe a subfolder that's just titled communication, then when an issue arises, it's right there, easy for you to find. So document, take notes, and then have a plan for storing those notes. I think could be very helpful. That way, if something comes up after the transaction and your broker calls and says that we got a complaint about a property condition issue, you can pull that up very easily, super easy. Next is to take action. Anytime someone brings up the words legal action, or I want an attorney, or should I get an attorney, contact your broker. First of all, if you've got a client that says, I think I'd like to review this with an attorney, the answer is yes, let them. Anytime someone wants it, let them do it. If you want to say, go for it. In my experience, here's normally how we handle this. That's fine. I think that that's probably acceptable. But if they want an attorney, they can get an attorney. We should never say, no, no, don't do that. Never. But make sure you keep your broker in the loop on it, okay? Even if it ends up being nothing, make sure you let the broker know about it. Now, every once in a while, we've got something that comes up, and really the broker wants to know about it sooner rather than later, so they can determine whether there's an error and an omissions claim that would be necessary, okay? Or whether they can see and forecast there being more to that story, again, from an E&O perspective. So again, anytime the word attorney or I want to seek legal counsel comes up, make sure you let your broker know. Next up is don't assume. Transactions can be tough. They're kind of like snowflakes too, right? Every one of them is just a little bit different. And you've got to keep in mind, as good as an agent is, or maybe as weak as an agent is, at the end of the day, we are representing clients. And sometimes our clients don't behave appropriately either, or all the other people behind us in the transaction, lenders, attorney, closings agents, right? Underwriters, appraisers, home inspectors, the line of people, and we're at the front of it. And sometimes unreasonable demands and personalities that are not typically characteristic of our clients come out just out of the stress of all of it. So the advice is, instead of assuming that an agent is terrible at their job when an issue arises, maybe give a little grace, but don't just assume they're a terrible agent. There might be more to the story. Now, when I say this, I'm not saying let people that are breaking the law or the code of ethics just turn a blind eye, say, maybe they're having a bad day. That's not my point. I'm talking about maybe these strong personalities that can come out, or someone that maybe seems a little overly demanding. We all have different personalities. And when it comes to real estate agents, I think we can all admit we are a mixed bag of personalities, and we all come from different backgrounds. Think about how you learn as a child, right? Someone said, no, don't touch that, it's hot. And you knew not to touch it because it was hot. You studied something in a book and you learned how to do math equations. And then you went home and you studied it, right? As adults, we are very different learners. We learn based on experience. And a lot of us have different backgrounds for work experiences before we even get into real estate. Some of us run our business as agents based on the crazy transactions we've had in the past. So that's what I mean by benefit of the doubt, not breaking the law or the code of ethics, but just kind of some of these personalities that come up. How are you coming from curiosity, excuse me, during a transaction that is really demanding? And when I say come from curiosity, I mean, what questions are you asking versus statements you're making or things that you are assuming about someone? That's kind of the point there. Next up is remain calm. An agent calls and yells at you. You didn't do this. Your seller's this. Blah, 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 blah. What's our natural reaction? And for some of us, we have got the natural talent of remaining calm and brushing that off and thinking nothing of it. Others were more reactionary, and maybe we take those things very, very personally. Be careful with that, okay? I think that there's a balance of brushing too many things off, and there's the other extreme that gets way, way too sensitive. At the end of the day, remain calm. Take deep breaths. If someone yells at you, maybe that's an opportunity to say, I respect your feelings right now, but maybe we just need to take some time and think this through. And then let's come back when our emotions are between the lines. That maybe is also going to let you bring it on back down instead of mirroring and matching them, right? And coming back yelling. Go keep your emotion between the lines. And then I think a great solution, this is just a suggestion from me to you, is come back with a plan instead of the problem. Sometimes we focus so much on the problem. You did this, you did this, you did this. We retaliate with you did this, you did this, you did this, instead of, hey, you know what? I know a mistake has been made. Maybe several of us played a part in it, but moving forward, how can we solve this and make everyone happy again, get back on track, because we want to get on track for what? For closing day. Next up is plan ahead. And if you've worked with me before, one of my favorite phrases is plan ahead to get ahead. Plan ahead to get ahead. Contracts are unique. The properties you sell are unique. Every contract probably needs special attention, whether it's an addendum that is with an association home, maybe it's a perk test with land, maybe it's understanding how propane and a propane tank work maybe, or septic inspections work a little bit differently for acreages. All of these things are a little bit different. And some of us have a very deep experience with commercial or agriculture or residential. I do suggest you stay in your lane, but at the same time, how often are you taking a class on a new topic? I know you're in class right now. This is required probably for your license, right? However, we've got 3 hours till or 3 years until we maybe see each other again. What are you doing in those 3 hours to stay up to date on a new topic, or as the market changes, you shift how you do your business, right? How you handled multiple offers in 2008 might be different than how you handle multiple offers in 2021, maybe, right? So what are you learning new, and how are you keeping on top of those things? Okay. Be respectful. Brokers love to help you. I hope that's the case. And if you're a broker taking this course, I'm going to make an assumption that you maybe just have a natural part of you that loves to help other people and help people grow. Or you maybe just have an entrepreneur's heart, and you just desire and have natural born leadership in you. I think a lot of brokers fall in that category. You love to help, but you put your license again on the line anytime your agents do as well. So as an agent working for a broker, part of this teacher's pet is, how do you take accountability when an issue rises? I know we all want to look good. We all want to be right. I know I've had many times agents have come to me and shared, a situation about a transaction, looking for questions to be answered or advice on what to do next. And I know that they're leaving out a very critical part of the story of something that they did, for lack of a better term, they screwed up. They missed a deadline. They missed a communication. They stepped out on a vacation and didn't have any backup. The list could go on and on. And again, I want to focus on the plan and not the problem. But without being completely honest with everything that happened and being completely accountable, sometimes it's hard to give a good answer or solve the issue because you don't know the full story. So I know it's hard to admit when you're wrong. It's hard to admit when you goof, but we are human. We are human. Please remember that. And just go to your broker and be straight up with them. I think that will get you to a faster, more accurate solution in the long run. They'll probably appreciate it. Then they maybe can help you out with some training so you don't do it again. That would be great too. There's just some discussion items for being a teacher's pet. I hope this gave you a few things to think about when you're either a broker, how to challenge your agents and set up some standards for them working for you. But as agents, what can you do to stay on the good communication side with your broker?